off awesome videos, fun stuff that Moshe and I will be doing. Guess what we're doing today?
Tango!
This is Mr. Tango now. Alright, so this is your wonderful friend, so why don't you do the intro?
Well, Sasha was my instructor in salsa for many years, at least 3 or 4, I would say, while I was in university. And I think, you refined me. I started salsa, I don't know if people know this, but I started salsa in a basement party, house party.
Okay.
And then, so I was rough around the edges, and you refined me and taught me the finer steps of salsa. So.
Well, we did a good job.
Yeah, totally.
So in the 90s, when I was doing house party, he's doing basement salsa.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
Yeah.
So this is awesome. So you've known him for 10 years, you said?
Something like that. I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's been about 10 years. Way back at York University.
Yeah, I was teaching at York University at the time.
Yeah. And I would just sneak after doing some research there. I would sneak out and join their classes, and I think that got me hooked, introduced into salsa socials. And recently you told me you did tango, so Tina said that she wants to try it out.
Yeah, as you guys know that we're trying out different sort of fun things that people could do to get to a better space. So I was trying to figure out what I could do, because he did Reiki and cooking.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, I know this salsa teacher, but I was thinking like, nah, salsa and me don't jive. So what is like tango? I was like, oh yeah. Because I watched the Addams Family do tango. I was like, I gotta learn that stuff. So in fact, before we started this little chit-chat, he actually gave me just a little preview, which we'll show some of the videos later on. But it's very intricate.
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually the Addams Family Scent of a Woman, I think.
Oh, right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. They actually bring a lot of people into tango. And it did at a particular time.
Right.
Because, it was shown that,
Yeah, so we were discussing and we found something similar. We've taken martial arts before. And I was mentioning that tango seemed to pull out something in me. I mean, if I learned the steps, but it really associated with my spirit. And I thought it's very similar to martial arts, as you mentioned as well. How's that compute?
Yeah, I mean, it's about learning. I think dancing in general is just about learning your body and learning how to move and learning how to be in space and learning how to communicate and work with somebody else. And that's, that's the really nice part about it. And I guess that's maybe the same, it has that same feel as a martial art. So I've done martial arts myself, like I was saying, Kung Fu and Tai Chi, especially, like those slow-moving martial arts where you really have to work on your structure and how you work with somebody. It's really interesting how it's very similar to that, or Aikido, like you were saying. I guess the only difference is instead of trying to overpower or use your opponent's energy against them, you're trying to use the energy to kind of move together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. So now, how did you get into dancing? Because that was a fun story you told us. How did you get into dancing?
Yeah, so I started when I was 13 because my mother was dancing with my father, and my father just had enough at that point of ballroom dancing. So my mom was like, okay, you're coming with me, and we're going to take these classes together once a week. So I started with my mom. Actually, we danced together for years, and I got groomed. I still like the way you got groomed,
You passed on the baton to me.
Yes, I got groomed for years in ballroom dancing, and then so I competed and performed as a youth, and then when I went to McMaster University, that's where I started to do salsa, and I made a bit of a transition. And when I graduated from there, that's when I started teaching at York University. And at that time, my dance partner, who I was dancing with at the time, introduced me to Argentine Tango, which I was saying, it was just a challenge for me, And I was teaching, I was performing, I was doing these things, and I thought, okay, tango is going to be a simple transition for me. I'll just, pick it up really quickly, like I'd done with some other dances, and it just wasn't the case. Tango, although I had so much experience dancing, it was just difficult to actually move with somebody. Like we were talking about with the martial arts, like all of a sudden, there's a lot of leading and following. Anything can happen at any time. It has a lot less structure. It's very improvisational.
It is very much. Yeah.
So it relies a lot on leading and following.
Right.
And like I was saying, one of the nice things about it is that you have to earn it. You know, it's not one of those dances that you can just go out and like right away you're an expert. You know, if you go out, you realize, wow, like there's, you know, this is a challenge. I mean, it doesn't take long to learn the basics, but it's one of those dances that as you mature doing it, you know, you really get into it.
So you can't really bring your suave chismo into it, right? You can't be your salsa like, hey, I'm doing my salsa. No, tango is actually learn something. You have to learn.
Yeah, it's a different type of machismo.
Now, can you tell me a little bit about tango? Like, so we're doing Argentinian.
Argentinian tango, yeah. So, I mean, I had done tango before in ballroom, ballroom dancing. So ballroom has tango as well. But Argentinian tango is maybe like the original from Buenos Aires, from Argentina. It relies a lot on like footwork and interesting combinations with the feet and a lot of intertwining of the feet, which is very common. And so yeah, I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but nowadays it's danced pretty much all over the world. And it's just spread like wildfire. And so many people like the music. And just like any dance, if the music really appeals to you, then you're going to, you know, be interested in dancing to that.
I feel the music.
Yeah, and you were just playing it earlier, and it really caught my attention.
Maybe because I'm an artist and we're so much passion. But it's different from salsa music. Salsa is cool. But the tango music I found has a specific beat that I can follow. And so he was showing me a couple steps, so it was weird because again I had to think about my feet, my body, my hands. And the music kept interrupting me. So I wanted to listen to the music, and every time I wasn't paying attention to how I moved. Now, for beginners like me, I'm a bit nervous.
Yes.
I got sweaty palms. I'm like Niagara. How do you deal with nervousness of your students, if someone's new? Like how do you sort of
Because it could be, especially for the beginner, in terms of intimacy, it could be very uncomfortable as well.
Yeah. I think it's good to know that, I was nervous too when I started. You know, I was nervous at the beginning. I was like, you know, I don't want to go in the middle of the floor, you know, because I'm going to be, all the couples on the floor are going to be watching me, and I have to navigate around the floor. And then I was like, oh, I better move to the outside of the floor. But then I was like, all the audience is watching me dance, and I'm like, there's really no place I can be where, you know, like you don't feel nervous. And there's so many things, but that's just part of it. I mean, it takes that courage to step on the floor. And to just recognize that, you know, people actually aren't watching you. You know, they're watching the people that have been doing this for a long time. You know, and it really, like, you know, the community, and I find this community in general, like dancing is one of those things. Wherever I go, I always try to find a place to dance and meet people because the community is just so open. And you know, it's fairly non-judgmental. I mean, you can go in and just, you know, get right in there. And
so if I like started breaking out to the robot. Or the party man, but in a very Argentinian way.
I think you'll get attention for sure.
As long as it's to the music.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, there's a couple of things that I noticed about like the music is that from salsa it's very different. The nuances are different. And knowing when to move as a leader, for instance, is something that I know that would be difficult for me. So I think that there's another dimension because you're going to be following, but as a guy.
I actually sense a beat. So I felt, I don't know if this is true. This is just my personal first-time experience. Was that as I was following the steps you were teaching me, I was listening to this music, and there was a specific beat, almost like I felt my legs on its own, following a beat. Is that what it is, or? Yeah,
like there's a beat in tango, in salsa, in pretty much every dance. It's the beat that determines the type of dance that it is.
I can't hear no beat in salsa.
It's just faster, you know, so sometimes it's harder to pick up. But there's definitely a clear beat in salsa too. It's just a quick, slow, like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. You know? Whereas in tango, it's I mean, it's not necessarily slow because there's different versions of tango as well.
But there's some, I don't know what it is, but there's something that was moving me inside. I didn't know what it was, so I was being overtaken by the music because I'm listening to an internal beat.
Mhm.
And it was matching some of the movements, so which I've never experienced before. So it was like, whoa, this is so cool. What's going on? I love it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, ultimately, it's you're trying to express the music through your through the dance,
See?
Yes.
and through yourself.
Connected
So,
to the rhythm of
yeah, like I mean, we're listening to the music and then translating
Yeah.
the music into movement. You
Right.
know? I mean, that's ultimately
So
what dancing
salsa
is.
music is not me. Tango music is me. Caribbean music. Did you see me do the? Did you see me do the Caribbean twerk, guys, on Saturday?
Oh yeah, a couple weeks ago.
You have to teach me.
I totally made that up. But okay, so back with so you were saying that tango is a basic 6-box step.
So there's a typical box step that's considered the basic 6 steps.
Yeah.
Which are the first 3 steps of a basic and the last 3, which is generally followed in terms of teaching,
Yeah.
But once you actually do the dance, there's a lot of freedom.
Okay.
There's not a lot of structure to Argentine Tango,
Okay.
which is one of the things that some people appreciate about it, because it's very similar to, let's say, jazz music.
Okay.
Whereas classical music is very structured and, whereas jazz music can kind of go in any direction, any time. Argentine Tango is very similar to that. And a lot of people like it because it allows you to improvise all the time. And for the woman, I've taught you the basic and the outline, but if we were to actually dance socially on the dance floor, you really wouldn't know what would come next. But that's part of the appeal, is that you have to follow what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And as a leader, it's really appealing because you really have to lead.
Right.
So there's a really conscious intention between the couple.
Yeah.
Right.
One to lead and make that clear, and as the follower to follow and to be able to pick up on the nuances that the
Yeah.
You would have
leader's
to,
leading.
would you not have to know your partner well, or would you have to just feel the body move?
Yeah, obviously if you dance with someone, for a long time, you get used to the way they lead, and maybe they get used to the way you follow.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's nice to be able to change partners too, and to feel the way different people interpret the music, and to feel the way different people lead, and to feel the way different people follow. Which makes it actually exciting to do with different people.
And that's the best part about dancing, because when I'm feeling unwell, Tina knows this. The first place I go to is I have to go out dancing.
Yeah,
And it's the social atmosphere.
Dude, did you go dancing?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, there's that social connection that dancing offers, and being close to somebody in terms of movement in that way is another step to that social dynamics.
Yeah, there's definitely something very healing about it too, though. I mean, anytime I have a headache or or I'm stressed in some way, and I go dancing, it just completely alleviates it.
Yes.
There's something about just listening to the music. You get lost in it, and you get lost in the. And it's a nice way to meet people and to connect with
That's
people.
exactly it.
Like, there's so many things about it.
Positive things about it, yeah.
So my mind is totally blown away. Because, I'm coming as a beginner with very little expectation. I'm like, this is dancing, who cares? But really, it's so interesting and unique, but so much, I was a bit nervous, but that first 5 minutes, oh, this is kind of cool. And as he said, it does bring you to a better state of mind, which is steps away from joy.
See, there you go.
So we're going to start another part on the second video. This was fun chatting with you.
It was.
But before we end, can I ask a weird question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you're doing the dancing competition, like tango, let's say, what are you thinking in your head? You're like, yes, I'm cool. Yes, I'm floating, and I'm sexy. What do you
Actually, I
think?
think I'm nervous. I'm nervous, and I have to perform in front of all these people.
Yeah, so you don't have this alter ego that you sort of put on, and you're like, yes, I am Sasha. I'm the tango king.
There is definitely that element. That has to come
Because
through.
you gotta have some
You
attitude,
do
right?
have to kind of jump into a different persona. And
So
I
what is it
naturally,
like?
it's interesting because I don't consider myself naturally a performer.
Yeah.
But it's something that I just have done so often now that.
So what's in your mind? What do you think? Besides the
I'm thinking how can I show off my partner? Make her look good. Yeah.
So those are the secrets?
we managed to get it out of there.
Yes. All right, bye guys, see ya.
Take care. Love you.